In 2023, a 17-year-old kid from Cincinnati showed up in Portugal, and the streets literally shut down. Crowds of hundreds packed around him just to get a glimpse. Police had to be called. And the wildest part? He was not a musician. He was not an athlete. He was a YouTuber who got famous by screaming at video games. That is the story of IShowSpeed. And once you understand how he actually pulled this off, you will realize his rise was never as random as it looked. Darren Watkins Jr. was born in 2005 in Cincinnati, Ohio. He started posting gaming content on YouTube around 2016 when he was barely a teenager. For years, almost nobody watched. No viral moments, no big numbers, no reason to believe anything special was coming. He was just another kid making gaming videos in a sea of millions of other kids making gaming videos. And for a long time, that is exactly where the story stayed. But then the internet found him. And nothing was the same after that. Around 2020 and 2021, clips from Speed's live streams started spreading across social media at a pace nobody expected. And it was not because he was the most skilled gamer. It was not because he had the best production quality or the most polished content. It was because watching him was like watching someone with absolutely zero filter react to everything in real time. He screamed. He jumped out of his chair. He argued with his chat. He had meltdowns over losses that would make most people laugh out loud. Every single stream was unpredictable in a way that made it genuinely hard to look away. And on an internet that was in the middle of an explosion in short-form content, that unpredictability was worth more than almost anything else a creator could have. This is the part of Speed's story that most people miss when they try to explain why he blew up. He was not going viral because some algorithm decided to push his content. He was going viral because real people were clipping his moments and sharing them with their friends. Every overreaction became a meme. Every unhinged moment became a clip that someone sent to their group chat with the caption, "You have to see this." Most creators spend years trying to manufacture that kind of organic spread, and they never get there. Speed was creating it constantly without even trying. The internet was essentially doing his marketing for him, and it was doing it for free, at scale, around the clock. By 2021, his subscriber count was climbing in a way that was hard to explain on paper, but made complete sense once you understood the clip ecosystem that had built up around him. Millions of people became fans of IShowSpeed before they ever watched a single complete live stream. They knew him through 30-second clips. They knew his energy. They knew his reactions. They felt like they already understood who he was. And that is a genuinely rare thing. Most creators need hours of your time before you feel any real connection to them. Speed could create that feeling in under a minute. But here is the thing that really separated Speed from every other loud personality on the internet during this period. He had Cristiano Ronaldo. Now on the surface, a teenage streamer from Ohio being obsessed with the most famous soccer player on the planet seems like just a personal thing. But what it became was something much more powerful than that. Speed's reactions to Ronaldo goals, his imitations of the Sioux celebration, his genuine emotional investment in everything Ronaldo did, all of it became part of his identity in a way that connected him to an entirely different audience than the typical gaming creator. Soccer fans who had never watched a gaming stream in their lives knew who Speed was because of the Ronaldo content. International audiences who would never have stumbled across his channel any other way found him through that connection. He was not just a streamer anymore. He was the Ronaldo guy, and that label opened doors that most creators could never even get close to. Then, in 2023, it happened. Speed actually met Cristiano Ronaldo, and if you watched that moment as someone who had followed Speed's journey, it hit differently than most creator moments do, because this was not a PR stunt. This was not a brand deal. This was a kid who had built a massive part of his public identity around his admiration for one person, and he finally got to stand in front of that person. The reaction was everything his audience expected, and then some. It became one of the most watched moments of his career, and it worked because it felt completely real. Real is actually the word that unlocks everything about Speed's success when you dig into it, because the internet in 2021 and 2022 was absolutely full of creators who had figured out how to seem entertaining, how to seem authentic, how to seem like they were being real with their audience, while still managing every single thing they said and did for maximum brand safety. Speed never did any of that. Whether you loved him or could not stand him, you always felt like what you were seeing was exactly what was actually happening. No filter, No script, no PR team deciding which version of him was safe to show the world. Just Darren, on camera, reacting to whatever was in front of him. And audiences, especially young audiences, can detect the difference between that and a performance faster than most people realize. Speed felt real, and on an internet full of carefully constructed personalities, real is an incredibly powerful thing to be. That authenticity carried him through multiple controversies that probably would have ended careers with less genuine connection to their audience. He got banned from Twitch in late 2021, which was a significant blow at a critical point in his growth. He faced public backlash multiple times for things that happened on stream. There were moments where it genuinely looked like the chaos might catch up with him, and every single time, he came back, not because the controversies went away, but because his audience had decided they were invested in him as a person, not just as content. You do not get that kind of loyalty from people who think you are performing. You only get it from people who think they actually know you. The travel streams are where the global story really became undeniable. When Speed started doing international live streams, something happened that almost no other internet creator had experienced at his level. People showed up, physically, in massive numbers, in Portugal, in Indonesia, in Norway, in Turkey, in the UK. Crowds formed around him that looked less like a fan meetup and more like a local celebrity had arrived unannounced. Streets got crowded. Security had to step in. Local news covered it. He was not just big on YouTube. He was recognizable to people who had seen 30-second clips on their phone in countries he had never even planned to visit. That is not platform fame. That is something genuinely different. So what do you actually take away from the IShowSpeed story? Because on the surface, it still looks like chaos won, like a kid who screamed loud enough and got lucky. But that reading completely ignores what was really happening underneath all of it. Speed figured out, whether consciously or not, that in a world optimized for safe and polished and brand-friendly content, being the most authentic version of yourself is actually a competitive advantage. Most creators are trying to be likable to everyone. Speed never worried about that. He was himself completely and loudly and without apology, and it turned out that a massive portion of the internet had been waiting for exactly that. Could he have gotten here by doing what everyone else was doing? By playing it safe, keeping the energy controlled, never giving anyone a reason to clip him for the wrong reasons? Almost certainly not. The chaos and the authenticity were not separate from his success. They were the entire reason for it. Being impossible to ignore turned out to be more powerful than being perfect. And in a media landscape where the average person is scrolling past hundreds of pieces of content every single day, impossible to ignore might be the most valuable thing you can be. A few years ago, Darren Watkins Jr. was streaming to almost nobody in Cincinnati, Ohio. Today, he is one of the most recognizable internet personalities on the entire planet. Not because he followed anyone else's playbook, not because he optimized for the things every creator guru tells you to optimize for, but because he was fully, completely, chaotically himself at a moment when the internet was ready for exactly that. And that is how IShowSpeed took over the internet.